Hi, KOIN 6 Meteorologist Josh Cozart here with your latest weather forecast. We've got a lot to unpack as this has really been a volatile past 24 hours or so here across the Pacific Northwest. And that activity, well, it does continue. So let's go ahead, just take a look back at what we saw yesterday. This was primarily out towards southwest Washington, where a lot of lightning started to spark up and rapidly move its way further to the north along the Willamette Valley, along the Cascades and the coastline. These just a few of the images that we managed to see really over the past 24 hours out towards the McMinnville area along the Willamette Valley, out towards Oregon's wine country, experiencing some of those lightning strikes there, looking off to the south, and also a lighthouse and lightning, something you don't typically get to see here along the Oregon coast, and that activity will continue to ramp up further north in the state of Oregon and out towards the eastern half of the state of Washington as we continue through our Wednesday evening. You can see, though, over the past 24 hours, a lot of that lightning activity racing its way from south to north along I-5, and this is something that we are keeping a very close eye on because even at this point in time, we are still seeing those lightning strikes across our area. Now, you'll notice very little impacts as far as our weather goes here in the Portland area. So all is calm, quiet, and clear at this point in time. This all coming as we prepare for excessive heat to once again return to the Pacific Northwest, sounding a bit like a broken record for us as of late, as all of those summer-like temperatures just continue to find their way back into the Pacific Northwest. But you'll notice the lightning quickly starting to slow down as we lose some of that daytime heating. But if you look right below me, that's a live look out over downtown Portland as those hazy skies still remain across the region. The National Weather Service still prepping us for the potential for lightning-induced wildfires for starting and spreading with red flag warning that is currently in effect at least through 10 o'clock tonight. That's where we expect to see that thunderstorm activity still remain, potentially starting new wildfires, and we've seen that over the last little bit. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this satellite imagery that we were able to capture from the GOES 18 satellite. You can see the smoke billowing up out towards places like Douglas and Lane County. This is just a bit of a snapshot of what we saw back over the past 24 hours or so. Lightning starting new fires out towards the forested areas of the southern and central Cascades in the Beaver State. Now, the new lightning, the current lightning, firing up out towards the northeast corner of the state of Oregon and out towards the eastern sections of Washington. So something we are very closely monitoring as we move our way through the next several hours. Now, as far as our current temperatures go, that's where we are sitting on the warmer side of things. Still 88 degrees here in the city, 80 out towards Salem. So the further south you go, a little bit cooler, and seeing those 60s out along the coastline as well. Now, out towards the east of the Columbia River Gorge, east of the Cascades, that's where the Dalles are currently at about 87 degrees. That's down anywhere from a couple of degrees to almost 10 to 15 degrees earlier in the day. So significantly cooler, comparatively speaking, to the triple digits that we experienced in places like Salem or 104 out towards the Dalles just about 24 hours ago or so. So here's our big weather headlines for us. The thunderstorm activity, it's going to continue to decrease as we work our way through the overnight hours tonight. That's the good news. Now, as far as the heat, it's going to continue to build as that thunderstorm activity does just the same. We'll go ahead and get you a look, a time-lapse view of exactly what we experienced back over the past little while, if my computer will cooperate with me here. Let's see. But as far, it's got to reload, of course. That's the beauty of streaming live right here on KOIN.com and also on all of our social media platforms. But as this loads up, that elevated fire potential, that's going to take us well into the next several weeks, unfortunately. If we see any more lightning once again return to our region, that has the potential to be a cause for concern. Not only that, but also the lack of rainfall. We're up to about 20 days of no measurable rainfall here in the Portland metro area. That's also concerning. We need the moisture to once again return to help reduce that wildfire potential that has really kind of run rampant as of late. So the thunderstorms, here's a bit of a time-lapse view of them developing over the high terrain of the Cascades just a few hours ago. The billowing cumulonimbus clouds, this from the Vancouver waterfront in southwest Washington, All thanks to the Hotel Indigo Kirkland Tower camera for giving us that view. Another snapshot if you're just now joining us at some of the satellite and radar showing that the lightning is slowing, thankfully, out towards the eastern sections of Washington and northeast Oregon. Again, a red flag warning in effect through about 10 o'clock tonight, set to expire as that thunderstorm potential does remain. That's where we could potentially see gusty winds, frequent lightning, and a greater threat, of course, of those wildfire conditions. Now, here's a bit of a snapshot of where the dry conditions, the hot weather, along with the thunderstorm activity all comes together to show you our fire weather danger. So turning up the dial out towards Yakima, Washington. Pendleton was up to 10 earlier today, now tapering back as we push our way through the rest of this evening. So really kind of good to see these conditions downgraded as those temperatures start to fall tonight and the relative humidity values start to rise. That will help to decrease that fire potential. Unfortunately, short-lived, as yet again another round of summer heat is expected to build. A live look right now out over downtown Portland. You can hardly make out Mount St. Helens. Typically, this shot is crystal clear, but not only from the fires burning here across the western half of the country, Northern California, all of that funneling its way back up into our area, but we do have the potential for some of our skies to be polluted due to a fire that is currently burning out towards a recycling steel facility in northern Portland. Of course, you could get the latest information on that right now at KOIN.com. 88 degrees, that's where we are currently sitting here out at PDX. The winds on the calm side, so very little air movement to kind of help to stir up the atmosphere and potentially remove any of that wildfire smoke or the burning conditions that we are seeing in northern Portland right now. So as we move our way through the rest of this evening, expecting to see that marine layer push its way back along the coastline, the I-5 corridor, steering clear of any cloud coverage. So that's good news. That means cooler temperatures are on the horizon for us as we work our way through the rest of this evening. We are also expecting to see the sunshine really ramp up tomorrow. If you're maybe traveling along the coast for the start of the day on your Thursday, maybe a light drizzle, a welcome sight. And we will, unfortunately, keep our rain gauges on the drier side of things. A lot of zeros here coming up with our rainfall accumulation. This has been par for the course, sounding like a broken record with the lack of rainfall. That just continues to add up. Now, keep in mind, the month of July, typically Portland's driest month of the year. But we have seen no measurable rainfall. Typically, we should have already seen about 3/10 of an inch. That's not the case. Now, when we compare our water years so far compared to where we were just this time last year, well, we're down by just about an inch or so. But if we talk about normals, well, we are up just a little bit by about an inch and almost 2 inches, I should say, an inch and about 9/10. Now, our air quality, we are keeping a close eye on that. It's wildfire season here in the Pacific Northwest. It's something that is concerning for us. And feel free, if you have any questions or comments that you would like to ask specifically here on TikTok or even on KOIN.com, we'll make sure that we get those questions answered for you with all of the latest information. But our air quality is definitely suffering out towards the northeast corner of the Beaver State. Just look right along the border of Idaho and the border of Washington. A lot of those yellow dots, that's the moderate air quality right now. The I-5 corridor, the Portland metro area down to Salem, Eugene, all good with the exception of parts of Marion County falling back to that moderate level. But we do have a few unhealthy for sensitive groups category. It's all not surprising, especially as you look at that image below me. That's a live look over downtown Portland this evening. The sun is shining. There's hardly any clouds in the sky, but you'll notice the haze persistent. That's going to be the case as we work our way at least through the next several days. Here it is, all in motion, the high-level smoke forecast. So not necessarily impacting the air quality at the surface level, but giving us those milky skies, all due to a fire that is currently burning in Northern California, tracking its way further to the north with that southwesterly flow. You'll notice as we push our way into Friday morning, the eastern half of Oregon and Washington socked in with that thick layer of smoke and haze and pollutants. Although seeing some clearing out towards the coastal spots, the I-5 corridor. So as you look out towards the mountains from the Portland area, even out towards Seattle, if you're joining us from there, or out towards Lane, Douglas County in western central Oregon, expecting to see those smoky skies. Now, keep in mind, this is all if we don't see any additional fires to spark up. But of course, that nice onshore flow out of the southwest would prevent any smoke from moving its way into the I-5 corridor, the Willamette Valley, or out towards western Washington, unless we see a fire maybe spark out towards the Coast Range, which is not likely. We're not expecting to see any lightning. Of course, human-caused fires are also a cause for concern as we are talking about the dry, hot conditions that we continue to see build here across our area. So for tonight, clear skies for the Portland area, 62 degrees. It will be cooler for us. A nice change of pace. We have not seen early morning lows this cool in quite some time. So we will take that as our temperatures tomorrow along the coast, expecting to get back up into the mid 60s, low 70s, a possibility for us. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds. It will be cloudy for the start of the day, and then as we work our way into the later afternoon hours, that's where we should see some of those breaks in the clouds, a little bit more of that sunshine to help heat us up. Back to regular scheduled programming, unfortunately, for the I-5 corridor, the Willamette Valley, Portland, 89 degrees are expected high. Parts of southwest Washington see much of the same. The summer heat, it just continues to build for us. And out towards the east, well, just forget about it. Triple digits yet again for the Pendleton area, coming off the heels of the thunderstorm activity that we've already been seeing. Up in elevation, staying above average as far as those temperatures go, so it is still definitely going to be on the toastier side for us. I'm going to go ahead and give us our 7-day forecast full here so you can get it in its entirety as we work our way into the next several days. Seeing the heat build once again. Low 90s for Friday, mid 90s for Saturday. That's going to be the peak of this latest round of heat. And it just so happens to be Portland's Pride festivities, where we expect to see those temperatures yet again skyrocketing back up into the mid 90s. Folks, the Portland area for the middle of July should only be around 82, 83 degrees. So this is about 10 degrees warmer than where we should be, especially with those early morning lows only falling back into the mid 60s. So we would definitely like to see the cooler weather return, and it just so happens to do so just in time for the Portland Pride Fest March on Sunday. A mix of clouds, a little bit of sunshine, so keep the sunscreen close at hand. And then we expect to see those highs back up into the upper 80s. The good news is, as we work our way into next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, that's where we expect to see those temperatures start to be more seasonal, fall back into the low 80s for us, mid 80s. That will be a nice change of pace. And we'll give you a little bit of a snapshot here of what we expect to see for Pride weekend. That's where our temperatures are really going to start to behave themselves for many of us. And this will be a nice change of pace, especially on Sunday. I'm just thinking about all the poor drag queens out there. My wife, Nicolonoscopy in particular, going to be melting in many cases. But the hot tip of the day for any makeup artists out there, you spray hairspray on your face, yes, on your face and your hair, to kind of lock it in. Of course, you can use setting spray as well, but in these excessive temperatures, 95 for Saturday, a lot of outdoor drag activities expected. That's going to be a secret saving tip. You didn't hear it from me. But again, hairspray will not only lock your face into place, but also fill up those pores. So use your cleansing devices at your will. Now, of course, the latest information can also be found right now at KOIN.com. We got a lot of great information. If I can maybe get us back to KOIN.com here, not our advertisement. There you go. A lot of the latest information coming in. Right now, you can get the latest on not only the latest news, but also if you go to the weather tab, you can get insight on our 7-day forecast. You can also get the latest weather forecast, where we are talking about the Portland area in particular, but also I love this, the interactive radar tool. Of course, not much happening here in our area, but if you go up towards eastern Washington, that's where a little bit more of that activity can be found. So a great tool, a great use of your resources here on KOIN.com. So thank you so much for joining us this live stream on TikTok, other social media platforms. And of course, we're always live and ready to give you the latest information right here on KOIN.com. We'll leave it at that, and I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday.